What's up, everybody? This is Chris Franchina. I'm the co-founder here at Policy Engineer, and today I'm going to teach you how to shop for life insurance. All right, now what you're looking at on the screen is a sneak peek at our Legacy Essentials presentation. At Policy Engineer, we try to keep everything as simple as possible. So shopping for life insurance, it's a three-step process. Step one, determine how much death benefit you should have. Step two, determine which type of life insurance suits you best. And step three, determine which company is going to give you the best price. But let's go all the way back. Let's start with step number one. So within step one, there's really two phases we're going to look at. First one is calculating your debts that you need to replace, and the second is going to be calculating replacing your income. But let's start with your debt. All right. So when you're calculating your debt, you're going to look at things like your mortgage balance, car loans, personal loans, credit card debt, etc. And you want to settle these debts and remove the financial burden from your family. For this to be extremely impactful to you guys, I want you to itemize your debt as we go through the presentation. So first, a mortgage. This is probably the biggest one. If you have an outstanding mortgage, write the remaining balance down. Any car loans, write how much you owe. Personal loans, any credit card debt that you have outstanding. Student loans, what's the remaining balance? And then any other loans, things like home equity loans, payday loans, etc. Write those down. And lastly, if you're a business owner, you want to write down any business-related debts that you're liable for. And lastly, any other financial obligations, things like alimony, child support, or co-signed loans. And I want you to take down the sheet of paper that you wrote all of these notes down and calculate the total balance of all the debts and liabilities, because we're going to use that to consider in how much death benefit you should have. So we took care of the debts and liabilities. Now let's look at your income replacement. On the screen, you're seeing 4 different calculations for income replacement. Now the first one is lifetime income replacement. So for someone who is a huge fan of life insurance and your goal is to make sure that your family is protected for the rest of their lives, if something were to happen to you, then replacing your income indefinitely is an option for you. So you're gonna write down your annual income, divide that by 3%, and then I want you to subtract your current savings. Whatever you have put away, subtract that amount. That calculation is going to lead to a large number, but that is the amount that your family would need to then take the death benefit, invest it, and live off of a conservative interest rate like 3% for the rest of their lives. So that actually replaces your income indefinitely. Okay, now the second one, this is the most common. This is the 10-year income replacement. You're just going to take your annual income, multiply that by 10, and then subtract your current savings. That's how much life insurance you need to replace your income for 10 years. Now the third one is debt restoration. This is just tallying up all the debts that we went over earlier and using that as just debt restoration. If something happens to you, the life insurance policy is going to pay off all the debts that you wrote down. And the last is final expenses. This would simply be calculating something like burial expenses or final expenses. Now, it's gonna range depending on if you wanna have a cremation done when you pass away or if you wanna have a burial with a casket and a full funeral. The cost will vary. I would say start with anywhere from $10,000 for a cremation up to $25,000, $30,000 for a funeral. But you're gonna wanna factor in inflation. So look out into the future and add 3% for inflation, and then you'll get a number probably closer, depending on your age, closer to 40, 50, maybe even 60,000 if you're looking way out into the future. All right, let's look at a use case. Take Joe, for example. Joe wants to replace not only his debts, but he also wants to replace his income. And he wants to replace his income for 10 years. Joe makes $100,000 a year. So 10 years of income replacement would be $1 million. And then he also wants to replace his debts. When he itemized his debts and liabilities, he had $500,000 in debts and liabilities. So you add those two together, that's $1.5 million in life insurance that Joe needs. And I want you guys to keep this in mind. Most people overestimate the cost of life insurance by 3 times what it actually is. So Joe might be in shock when he sees the price of $1.5 million in life insurance. All right, now we're on to step 2. We know how much death benefit we need, $1.5 million in life insurance. Now we need to determine what type of life insurance suits you best. And I want you to imagine a fork in the road. There's really two major options. There's term life insurance or permanent life insurance. What you're seeing on the screen here, this is the explanation of term life insurance. Now, term life insurance, simply put, it's temporary coverage. It's designed for a specific window of time, and when that time is done, the policy ends. All right, so it's temporary. You're gonna have typically 10-year, 20-year, or 30-year window. Now you can get specific and highlight a 15-year or 25-year, but most common are 10, 20, or 30-year term life insurance policies. Typically, it's more affordable. The premiums are gonna be less because the insurance company knows they're insuring you just for a window of time, and the premiums are fixed. Throughout the duration of the term life insurance policy, you'll have the same premium for that entire window of time. And the death benefit in most cases is gonna be a tax-free check that gets paid out to your beneficiary if you pass away within the policy terms. Now, next here is permanent life insurance. Like the name, it's designed to be permanent. And as you can see on the screen, it's lifelong coverage. As long as it's set up correctly, the death benefit is available until age 120. Now, I all hope we live that long. If you live to 120, then the insurance company will actually just give you a check at 120. So kudos to you if you live that long. Now, with permanent life insurance, for most options, there's gonna be something called cash value attached to it. And that's just a savings component on the life insurance, and it grows tax deferred, and it is accessible for your financial needs. You can also take loans from the policy. These can be a little complex, so I definitely suggest meet with an insurance agent and go over the complexities of permanent life insurance. All right, and the premiums for permanent life insurance, they can either be flexible or fixed premiums. Fixed meaning same exact premium throughout the duration of the policy. Flexible meaning you can pay below the cost of insurance or above the cost of insurance. If you pay above the cost of the life insurance, which you have control over, more money will go towards your cash value or the savings component of the life insurance. And the death benefit, it is usually a tax-free check that gets paid to your beneficiary if you pass away within the policy terms. In this case, it's permanent. So whenever you pass away, it's guaranteed. You're gonna get, or your beneficiary is gonna get a life insurance payout. Okay, we covered steps 1, which is determining how much death benefit you need. We also did step 2, we looked at the types of life insurance that exist, and staying in theme with this example of Joe. Joe decided he wants to get a term life insurance policy. And if you remember, he wanted $1.5 million in life insurance. That's gonna replace his debts, and that's gonna make sure to replace his income for 10 years. So now, you're looking at the Policy Engineer website. I'm gonna show you how to quote and even apply for life insurance at policyengineer.com, which you can see it's very quick. It's gonna take us just a few minutes. All right, on the quoter, I'm gonna write Joe in here. Last name is Test. Now, Joe is a male. Joe told me he's extremely healthy. He's not a nicotine or cannabis user. And Joe is 5'9", and he weighs 170 pounds. Now, Joe's date of birth. Joe was born on September 29th, 1989. So Joe is around 34, 35. So now you can see the types of life insurance. As we were talking about earlier, there's term or permanent life insurance on our website. You have term. This is probably the more common option for people that are looking to do mortgage replacement life insurance or want to replace their income for a specific window of time. Term is a popular option. That's what we're going to look at today. But you also have other types. Permanent insurance, that's what we were talking about earlier. You have supplemental retirement income. That is a type of life insurance that you can get where not only you have a death benefit, but you have a savings component with the life insurance. You can put as much as you choose into this life insurance policy, and it's gonna actually have that savings component grow, compounding interest over time, and you can borrow from the policy at some point in the future, or even create an income stream in retirement. But that's a little more complex, so I definitely suggest meet with one of our licensed policy engineers and have them build you a plan if you're interested in looking at that. But today, we're gonna look at term life insurance. So now, Joe wanted $1.5 million in life insurance, so I'm dragging our quoter to $1.5 million in life insurance. Now on the screen, you're seeing a bunch of different options. for all the term durations that we were talking about earlier. You can see 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, 25, 30, 35, even a 40-year term policy. All right, now when I talked to Joe earlier, he told me he wants to replace his income he wants 10 years of income replacement, but he wants this thing to last about 20 years. Because Joe is also contributing to his retirement, and he feels that his retirement accounts are gonna catch up to what the death benefit is in his insurance 20 years from now. So for a 20-year term life insurance policy at 1.5 million, it's $45 a month. Now again, most people overestimate the cost of life insurance by 3 times what it actually is. Joe's close to his mid-30s, he can get $1.5 million of life insurance for $45 a month. Now, at Policy Engineer, we work with America's top life insurance companies. So not only do you have the most affordable option here on top, but you have many other options there below. So you might find someone that's familiar, maybe you have a family member that has a life insurance company they really like. You have those options most likely here through Policy Engineer. But for this case, we're gonna look at the most affordable. Corebridge is who's showing up right now. They're an A-rated company. Now with this life insurance, and most life insurance companies, they're gonna require a physical exam. Now, they're gonna either require medical records. If you've gone to the doctor within the last 12 months, they'll go into your medical records. They're gonna pull the results from your last doctor visit, and they might use that. You might not need to get a physical exam, but in most cases, you're gonna have what's called a paramed exam. They're gonna send someone to you. They're gonna do a blood and urine exam, and those results will dictate the price of the life insurance. If you are extremely healthy, then you're gonna get what's called a preferred rating. If something comes back that's a concern to the insurance company, they're gonna do what's called rating. And they're gonna give you a rating on a table, and on the screen you might be able to see the table, but it's gonna be an alphabetical table. The higher you are on the rating, the higher the premium will be for your life insurance. Now, if you're getting a paramed exam for life insurance, here's a quick tip. Don't drink coffee in the morning. They're normally gonna ask you to fast before you get your paramed exam done, but wake up, drink water, you can stay hydrated, but don't eat any food and don't drink coffee. And the secret there is you don't want your heart rate to be through the roof when they come and do all of your exam. So that's a little tip. All right, now let's apply for the life insurance, $1.5 million. Now with our quoter, you have the option, if you wanna come back to this later, you can actually send the link to yourself. If you put your email in here, which in this case, we're gonna do joetest@gmail.com, and Joe's phone number is 714-555-555. Joe is a really interesting phone number, 55555. All right, now Joe can send the link to himself. If you hit yes, it's gonna send you a link that you can come back to later. You can also skip this step, but now, all right, there we go. The link just sent to Joe, so you can hit next to continue. And now we're into the application. And from here, from this point, you can see we're almost done. This meter at the top shows how far you are in the process. We've only been doing this for a couple minutes. We're already probably 90% of the way through the process. So now you just enter your basic information, and then you hit apply at the end, and your application was submitted. And if you're applying here through Policy Engineer, the next step after that, you'll get a call from not only an agent, but you'll get a call from our new business team. That's gonna walk you through the process, walk you through the next steps, and they're gonna push your application to get approved in the fastest way possible. Now, just to recap what we did, we looked at step 1, which is determining how much death benefit you need. We covered step 2, which is determining the type of life insurance that makes sense for you. And lastly, shop and compare. Make sure you're getting the best rate for the insurance policy you're looking for. Again, I'm Chris Franchina. I'm one of the co-founders here at Policy Engineer. And if you want more information, go to policyengineer.com. We have a ton of free resources that you can download, you can do research on. We have a knowledge base with tons of articles on life insurance. But if you want to go straight to the point and quote and apply for life insurance today, go to our life insurance page at policyengineer.com. You can get through the whole process in minutes.